Some final reflections. I got to the point when the fantasy of walking across Scotland became a distinct probability, and I had my doubts about my ability to do this, and especially when I did some longer walks to begin with around Glenogle and around the Isle of Iona. I only read the advice about not walking around Iona by yourself after I finished that walk, so if I had gone into the peat bog, well, in a few thousand years someone would have dug me up and exclaimed, "Iona Bogman," or something like that. Fortunately, I survived, but I did become aware of the need to start getting in some serious mileage with a suitably weighted rucksack. The rucksack felt quite heavy at times, and I was remembering my childhood in Kenya, seeing the old women bent double under huge piles of wood carried on their backs. I now wonder whether they were indeed old, but my 6-year-old self saw that, and I now remember with awe what they did. Or the women carrying water from the muddy stream. That was 50 years ago, but it did set something off in my brain which grew over the years. Coming back to England aged 10, I had a growing sense of injustice in terms of the global disparities. And in my teens, God was given the boot because how could any God allow such disparities in the world? Well, over the years, my perspective has changed, but the sense of injustice remains, which is why I'm helping to raise money for All We Can. All We Can works in partnership with local people to support them in making decisions and finding solutions that work for them. It doesn't do good to others, but supports people in the poorest communities to make decisions and use their scarce resources. So I want to thank everybody who sponsored me. I set a target of £134, which was £1 a mile. In the end, including gift aid, we've more than doubled that. So there's £245 of donations, £42.50 of gift aid, making a total of £287.50, which goes to All We Can. That makes a difference to me, but more importantly, it makes a huge difference in the lives of some of the poorest people in the world today. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Having walked for a bit by the Antonine Wall, I realised I would have made a crap Roman soldier. You want me to go where? In a pair of sandals with a sheet to cover me? To build a wall? Well, I would, Emperor Antonius Pius, but you see I have this hill allergy. I would also make a crap refugee. Over the week of walking, I've had good boots and good gear. And just over a week of walking, resting and eating each night, I have very sore feet. And just imagine if I didn't know anyone anywhere else. Would I even have bothered to set off? Perhaps I would just stay put and bombs may fall and maybe I'd live and maybe I wouldn't. But if I had a family, well, I'd have a responsibility and I would do anything to get them to safety. And if I knew someone somewhere, then I'd naturally try to reach them because, well, family is family. If people are prepared to walk and travel hundreds of miles in appalling conditions, then the least we can do is offer a welcome. And my guess is that if people make that sort of journey, they will work hard if allowed, because simply being able to work in safety is worth so much. And I suspect would follow rules and not be boozing at work events. The current attitude that gives rise to our country's policies is shameful. We can and should do better. When people have faced so much simply just to get here, can we not offer a spirit of generosity? This country is beautiful and big enough for all. Do take some time to enjoy what is around us. Ed and I enjoyed varying degrees of hospitality over the 9 days, and I did wonder about rating each hotel. Indeed, no sooner than we had arrived somewhere, Ed's phone was pinging, asking him to review the place we were staying. Perhaps some clearer signage on some of the doors might help avoid unnecessary embarrassment? Didn't put that in the review. As I look back over the whole journey, it somehow doesn't feel right to rate the places we stayed. I'm not referring to the decor. I lived in enough manses in my life to be able to appreciate quality decor when I see it. No, this was more a sense of an industry in post-COVID recovery, or perhaps fighting for its life. The hospitality industry is struggling. For example, in one hotel, and it was called a hotel, there was a dining room and kitchens, but no breakfast or evening meal could be offered. Are there enough customers to justify employing staff and so on? Staffing problems arise, all sorts of reasons, but also in part because of the dreadful conditions that some of the workers have to endure. There's poor pay, there's uncertain hours, which can be both overlong some days and yet other weeks too short if you're trying to pay your rent or your ever-increasing utility bills. Staff can be sent home because there are not enough bookings or customers. And sometimes corners get cut and staff are exposed to unsafe environments. Hospitality staff need better protection and better conditions. But in the meantime, perhaps we can help by going and staying places in this beautiful country, remembering both to tip and to cut some slack when things are perhaps not quite tip-top. Ed and I did find food every day, but if you're walking, popping to what is described as the local supermarket isn't very appealing when it's a 3-mile trip there and 3-mile back. I really valued a full breakfast in the morning. It did make a difference to the whole day, and I have to say, across the 9 days, I certainly didn't starve. Over the whole walk, my total weight loss was minus 0.5 kilograms. Let the listener understand. I do know I was burning plenty of calories because my watch was telling me. Indeed, I set personal bests for most calories burnt in a day or most exercise minutes. So alongside the useful and perhaps not so useful information my watch was offering, it also records the pace of each kilometre on each day. And so I checked the fastest kilometre of the whole 9 days. Well, that took place near the end of the longest day. Surprise, surprise, crossing the Forth Bridge. Day 5, kilometre 28 out of 33 was done in a record 10 minutes and 13 seconds. It is amazing what the body can do. That was clearly my flight response kicking in, although I don't actually like flying for the same reason I didn't like walking on the Forth Bridge. It's too blooming high. Like all good books, there has to be some acknowledgements. It was the most amazing trip. And if I can do it with all my allergies, pills, inhalers and so on, well, just maybe you can too. It's been brilliant to do it with my big brother Ed, who helped me along throughout. So huge thank you to Ed, and especially for humouring me on the hills. It was good to catch up in more ways than one. Thank you to the people called Methodists for recognising the value of offering a sabbatical every 7 years to allow for rest and renewal. It has hit the mark every time. And my next one is actually in 6 years' time. I met a man who's a sign dealer. He got me a special deal on sabbaticals. Thank you to all the wonderful people who encourage the ramblings of this slightly curmudgeonly older twit middle-aged numpty, aka Scotman, got my tartan, got my anti-chafing pants off to save the world. Thank you to all my family and in particular Petra for her constant belief in me, her encouragement and giving me the time to do this, and also for picking me up at the end. Thanks be to God for the sheer breathtaking wonder of nature and the amazing diversity of people and of visionaries such as John Muir. We do need to listen. We do need to look after this planet, which does mean we need action on climate change so that generations to come can also enjoy this wonderful, wonderful place. I will leave the last words to John Muir. Keep close to nature's heart and break clear away once in a while and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirit clean. The end.